Hi there guys, Sam here. You join me in the Golf R for another video, and as the title suggests, you know, what is this car like to drive on the road? You know, what is it like in the real world? You know, for reference, I'm you know, coming up to 15,000 miles in the car. You know, a lot of those miles have been mine. I picked the car up with about 1,300 miles, so I feel I'm in a good position now to kind of show what it's really like in the road on normal roads like this. So bumpy, 30 mile an hour, those kind of roads. What is it like to live with? Yeah, so I'll get straight into it as I fly into this corner. And I like to try and take it from a perspective of someone who's maybe not, who's used to a normal car, let's just say. So let's start with, like, what's the negatives of this car, you know, of in the real world, on normal drives, in, you know, real life stuff. And I suppose the one thing, you know, which I'm reluctantly going to say anything, to be honest, because I'm looking around and I try and think of any bad signs of this car on the road, and it's really tricky, but I'll try, and I'll try for you guys. Certainly for new subscribers, if you're interested in getting a Golf, you know, this is what this kind of video hopefully will help you out with, as it now starts to rain. Trying to think of the negatives. So I suppose one of the things that I can think of which is a negative is potentially the ride. And I'm trying to think of people who are maybe slightly older, maybe if you're in your 50s or your 60s, or if you've got some sort of injuries, back injuries or anything like that, there are more comfortable cars to get. And I only really notice that when I get into, you know, even if just like a Fiesta Titanium, or, you know, a Focus or something like that, there's probably more comfortable cars out there. And again, that's quite harsh to say on this type of car, because it does depend how you spec it, and I've got another video on what I'd spec my kind of perfect car. To be fair, I'm kind of in it. This is my real perfect car, really. And you've got to be sort of quite careful on what wheels you go for. If you get 19 Pretorias, it's probably going to be even firmer. Well, it is going to be even firmer. I've got 18-inch wheels on mine. The lower the rim size, the more compliant the ride, particularly on British roads where it's bumpy. It's not, you know, I mean, I'm moving around a bit. It's fine. I mean, to be honest, for me, for my needs, this is really comfortable. This is far more comfortable than my last car. Far more compliant on the bumps. It's really, really good. But if you're looking for this type of car anyway, a Golf R, you know, you're probably going to have to have some compromise, and I suppose that is the minor compromise, and I really have to say minor, because compared to anything else out there, it's not really a fault. And from real world driving on the road, it's probably the only thing, but it's only because the roads are so terrible here. The only other thing that I can think of, just briefly kind of going through the negatives on the road, is it can get a bit confusing with all the buttons and all the different modes. You know, you've got eco, you've got normal, you've got race, you've got comfort if you've got dynamic chassis control, and it can get a bit confusing. You know, I'd like to think I'm pretty techie savvy, but I'm pretty sure I haven't worked out all the stuff after a year and a half owning this car. And it'd be pretty disappointing if you spec'd a car like this quite high, and some people might never experience the fact that it's got more settings than you'd think. So getting used to that is one thing. You know, if you get the facelift, it's a virtual dash, so it's a lot of things to get used to. And on the road, I do miss a bit of simplicity sometimes of a car that you can just get in and just drive a little bit. But that's with the kind of the age of you know, the kind of world we're in. Getting those out of the way, because to be fair, you know, I mean, if you follow my channel, you know how much I love the car, so I can't really say anything bad about it. So let's go on to the positives of what is great about this car on the road. It is so quiet and so relaxing, and I can compare that from other cars I've been in, whether it's Ford Focuses or Fiestas or whatever. It is generally more quiet, and I've done videos before and the camera doesn't lie, it's a more quiet ride. And if you do play around with your modes, you can get it even more quieter. Pretty hard to tell because it's raining now, so that makes it a little bit more harder to tell from your side. The way it does ride the bumps is really, really good. As I say, it's slightly lowered suspension over, say, like even another hot hatch. This is kind of another step up, I guess. A Golf GTI is, for example, probably more compliant on the road, potentially. But this is probably the perfect conditions to say, because this is what the real world is, isn't it? It rains in this country. You're on a slower speed road. You've got bumps all over the place, and I mean, I just think it's the car for everything. It's so much fun. It's got so much ability on the road. It's so easy to live with. And you know, slow speed manoeuvring, it's really, really good as well. You know, car parks, shopping centres, its turning circle is ridiculously good. Visibility is ridiculously good. Whether you get a 3-door or a 5-door, you've got the practicality. It's pretty easy to get people in the back of a 3-door. And what I really like about it as well, and I was thinking about this earlier today, is it's kind of in keeping with the modern age as well. You know, we're November 2018 for record, and you know, it's got a 2-litre 4-cylinder engine. I think that's about right for this time. You know, for this age where we're going into everything's electric, everything's hybrid, everything's trying to get the economy down and emissions down, and it just doesn't. You know, I drive around in this and I don't feel. You know, you don't feel bad. You feel like you fit in with the current world, if that makes sense. And it's sort of future-proof for years to come. Whereas other cars, particularly in this class on the road, I don't think they are. You know, I mean, in front of me I've got a massive Range Rover. For me, it looks a bit obscene on the road. Does it do anything different to what this car does on the road? Not really. And it has a far bigger footprint than this car does. Because of the 4-wheel drive system, you have that endless grip. And it does help you when you're going slow. I have all my traction aids on, but it does mean you can do what you want with the throttle, really. It's going to get you round. The brakes are really, really good, and again, if you're on the road, you know, anything can happen. Someone could pull out in front of this Range Rover right now, anything, and he could slam on his brakes, and I'd stop plenty before him. And I think that's good. It's a car that works so well on the road, and you'll have to tune it. You have to check out my other videos really as well to kind of get an overview of what this car is like. But on the road, this car is nothing short of exceptional. When you put everything together, when you put price together, when you put competitors together, where other cars fall short in certain areas, this car falls short in absolutely none. And I am kind of glad I'm driving it in the pouring rain. Now, hopefully you can hear me okay, because it's a pleasure to drive, and for me, I'm into my driving, and that's what I use it for. Good example there with the lorry, and something different as well to my Range Rover friend in front. This car is not that big on the road. It's big in space, it's big enough to live with. More than again, I've got plenty of practicality videos, you know, there's plenty of space in this car. It fits on UK roads really, really well, really well. You know, this is quite a tight, twisty kind of road, and I'm not having any problems at all. You can also tuck in the wing mirrors, which I do on even tighter roads where it's almost single carriageway roads, and I never feel worried. I've never had any issues with it, and that kind of things makes life easier on the road. And you know, I really do think this car can appeal to absolutely everyone, even if you're someone who only exploits the potential once a year. I think it appeals because it just does everything. It's so good. I can only imagine if you spec dynamic chassis control option on this, how even more versatile it would be. Although turning up and down the motorway as well, it's perfect. If you're watching this, hopefully this does make sense, and you know, I get a lot of people who are generally looking for a Golf R that puts a smile on my face when subscribers or viewers actually purchase the car and stuff like that. You know, I have no bias really, because you know, I make nothing from saying that this car's good. You know, it's just my personal opinion, and I don't have any negatives. You know, I could probably sit here in silence for about 5-10 minutes going, what are the negatives on this car? For me, there aren't really any negatives on this car. When I try and put myself in other people's shoes, I thought of those two things basically. Still so much fun on these roads. You can absolutely tear it around, and nothing can keep up with you. It holds its value really, really well. Okay, you pay a bit more than well, you don't pay a bit more for a Focus RS, but you pay a bit more for a Golf or a Focus. Your money's safe here. Not once did I go past the speed limit, and it's that kind of, I love it. And I hope this video is useful to you guys. You know, I know I get new subscribers to my channel as well, so hopefully this isn't repetitive for the old ones, but at the same time something different as well. You know, this is a different road, I don't often come down here. And then it's just quiet. And on a stressful day, it's very nice place to be in. You can see why they sell so many Golfs, and they've refined on it more with the facelift as well. And again, obviously I've got a manual gearbox. I've heard plenty of stories from my subscribers, again trying to build up a Golf R community here as well. It's a fantastic gearbox, it works really well with the engine, it makes things even more relaxing and even easier day to day, and faster. Not that this car isn't all you probably need, you can get it even faster, surprisingly. Everything in here is knocking on the doors of something that should cost a lot more. You know, this steering wheel is really high quality stuff. And you know, people, you know, I've had new people in this car last week and they're sort of like, oh wow, you know, that's cool, and that's quite a nice niche to have. You know, it's not just this boring, you know, run-of-the-mill Golf, that's something extra special, and you can have that without having any of the compromise, none of the compromise. There isn't a car out there, you know, if you try and think of your perfect garage, you know, this one's up there. I mean, I've got mine in 3-door manual, I think it looks better in 3-door, I think it's almost just as practical as well. So in summary, this car is absolutely perfect on the road. It does depend, there's a nice Focus RS there, on your circumstances, but trust me, if you're watching this video and you're into your Golf Rs, check through my channel, see what you think, and if you're watching a few of my videos, you'll work out whether or not it's the car for you. Hopefully this video helps out on what it's like in the real world, because this is where we live. We don't live in a world with, you know, where everything's perfect, where we have, you know, 10 garages and loads of parking spaces, and you can PPF your car, and you can, you know, it just doesn't work like that in the real world. I mean, look at this road, it's appalling. You don't live in a world where everything's sunny, and it just isn't like that. You know, you can think, oh, I'd love to have a supercar, a sports car, but would you really in this weather on these roads? I wouldn't. I'd be out in this. That's the truth. Please subscribe, please like for more content on my Golf R. You know, it's the ownership of this car. That's what the channel's generally based upon. It might not always be the most exciting drives. You know, I'm ultimately just a guy who owns a Golf R, who works Monday to Friday, and that's it, really. There's some exciting videos out there on some very exciting cars, V12s, you know, flat 6s, V8s, and they're great to watch as well. But this, you know, again, why I've kind of done the channel, in like car magazines and stuff like that, I'll always go to the back and I'll always go to the ownership and the long-termer stuff of cars, because that's always been interesting to me, that's always appealed to me. What is it like to live with? And that's kind of what I try and do on this channel, and that's what it's all about. And hopefully I've kind of portrayed that quite well so far. And again, I appreciate your support, and you know, again, thanks very much for watching. But as I head back home, I will see you again next time. Cheers, guys.